The holidays are typically times when we gather with family, and while meant to be a cheerful time, it can also be stressful because of disagreements among relatives or grieving a loved one. This morning, we'll learn a few ways to ease those tensions. Joining us now to do that is host of Conversations with K.D. Hall, now author and crisis manager. K.D. Hall, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
K.D., missing a loved one, especially around the holidays, it's not easy, and it's something you experienced and were inspired to actually write about.
Absolutely. I was here with you on the news last year in December, and my mother passed December the 30th of last year. And it's a very untethering experience. It really is. And I would just say that whenever I get pain, I try to turn it into some type of purpose. And that was the purpose of this book, right? I had to take many pauses after her death just to be able to gather myself. And so I wrote this book hoping that it could be a tool for others that are experiencing loss, right? And professionals like you, like myself. I was in the middle of doing 2 documentaries for her. I was coming on here with you, and my mother passed, right? And I wasn't able to be there with her in her passing, which is a lot of sorrow in that.
Yeah, no, I know how you feel. I mean, it's been 9 years since I lost my father, but a lot of times it feels like it was yesterday. And for you, just about a year, it's even more fresh in your mind and your heart. Can you tell us about the 117-day tour that you are launching? And you're doing this across Washington because you want to connect with multiple communities.
Absolutely. I'm from Detroit, as everybody knows, but I've been in Washington State for 18 years. I lived in Spokane, Tri-Cities. I lived more places in this state. So what I want to do is go back to my network, the military base where I first came here in Spokane, Fairchild. Me and my husband have a military edition coming out in January, and so we're going to be going to the military bases. In the military, loss is constant, right? And then we have a children's edition. So we'll be traveling around to different school districts throughout Washington State with our children's edition. That was inspired by my daughters. It will be a cartoon version of it. And then the actual book that I wrote that's dedicated to my mother is the book I'm starting this tour with, and it starts December the 5th. And really my goal is to really be able to connect with people, and that's everybody, but mainly professionals, right? Because as professionals, when we go through crises at work, and when we have our own midlife crisis, it's the same tools and the same strategies to be able to get yourself through it.
What are some things people will learn in the book? Like, give us an example of an action item that we can take to handle grief or stress, especially through the holidays.
Absolutely. So chapter 11 is my favorite chapter. Chapter 11 is the turning point of the chapter. That's where I tell about my experience with my mother and missing her death and the fallout of myself and my siblings. To this day, I mean, we were so close, and it's really sad to see that fallout happen. So in chapter 11, it gives you reflections and questions to be able to work through your own mental health. That's one of my favorite chapters. I would say chapter 2 talks about molestation as being a child, and you know, it happened to me as well. And at the end of that chapter, it talks to people about services that they can use. 988 is in that book as well, so they can know, like, you're not alone, and it's okay to get help. That's what I would say to you.
Well, K.D., fans of the NFL have likely learned of this tragic news, and even if you don't follow football, maybe you have heard. Marshawn Kneeland of the Dallas Cowboys died a few days ago, reportedly by suicide. He was 24, and K.D., so many people are online asking why.
You know, I was 42 when my mother passed. I'm a crisis executive. I handle crises on the regular. I almost lost myself. I have a very supportive husband. This guy was 22 years old when his mother passed. 26 is about when our brain is finished developing. I 100% can understand why he may have ultimately committed suicide because of that loss with his mother. And the thing people don't think about either is about the wins. When you get the wins, that throws you into the deepest depths of depression.
He scored his first career touchdown just a few days before this happened, and a lot of people thought, well, he's on the brink of, you know, something big for this season and for his career, but that could have ultimately sparked even greater grief or sorrow in his life.
Who do you call, right? And so I remember when I became a film commissioner, I got the call from the city of Seattle. That threw me into a 2-month depression. When I got the call that I was a film commissioner, I cried on the phone. And Mayor Harrell, he was the one that appointed me to the position, but I just cried on the phone because I wanted to call my mom, and I actually did call my mom, but she wasn't able to answer the phone. And so What I would say to people who love people who are grieving, and we all are going to grieve, right,
Yeah.
at one point or another. So it's just a matter
natural.
of time. But when people are grieving, and if you're their friend or you want to be there, really be there for them emotionally. Don't take that as an opportunity to take advantage of people's emotions. Don't take that as an opportunity to try to see what you will feel like if you're grieving through them. And I've experienced all of that this year. You know, I'm happy to still have you as a friend and a colleague.
absolutely.
But sometimes what you'll notice is that your relationships will change. And I would just say, if someone's grieving, understand that that person could be 1 second away from losing it all. I'm grateful. I have a husband. I'm a crisis manager, so I was able to go back to some of my old work tools and use it to pull myself out of my midlife crisis. And this is the last thing I will say. To your point, you have to talk about it. You have to talk about it. Not with everybody, though, but you need to have a safe place to talk about it.
Well, Katie, thanks for talking about it with us this morning. For more information about Katie's book, Sacred Pause, or the foundation that she runs, text BOOK to 206-448-4545. We'll send you a link. Katie, thanks for being here.
you.
As we send you to break, we do want to remind anyone who needs to talk to someone right now, you can call or text 988 24/7.